Guys, welcome to the channel IT Simplified. In today's video, I'm here to give you a quick rundown in one of the most eagerly awaited functionality for Veritas backup exec customer, the instant cloud recovery. As we all know that business continuity is no longer an option, and I think that was one of the functionality that was missing in backup exec is to continuously or synchronously replicate their virtual machine running on both Hyper-V as well as VMware infrastructure and utilize cloud as a DR site. And for a lot of customers who don't have the means and the money uh, or the budget to invest in some sort of DR kind of site, they can leverage Azure and specifically Azure Site Recovery to replicate their virtual machines. So as you can see that in the last video we deployed BE 20.2, and you will see that there is a new button which has been added to the management console, which is this instant cloud recovery. Now if I pick this, it gives me the option of instant cloud recovery to Azure, and I can configure by utilizing very few simple steps. So if I go to click to configure, it will ask me uh, which Azure environment I want this to replicate to. So you can pick from Azure, US government, Germany, or China. So let's see if I pick Azure, it gives me the just important thing that I need to be a global administrator for the Active Directory tenant for this Azure subscription. So that's very important and one of the prerequisite in order to utilize that. And if I pick next, it will ask me to provide the credential for my Azure subscription. So as you can see that I have an active subscription, I can click next on this. And here I can create a recovery service vault. If you don't have that in the Azure subscription, right within the backup exec management console, I can give a name for my recovery service vault. So if I give a name, say Girish RSV, I can pick the region I want this recovery service vault to be created. And as you can see that there are multiple regions I can pick from. So say for example, if I pick the East US and click on finish, the recovery service vault with the name Girish RSV will be created. So if I click OK, I've been routed to the Azure portal. And if I can go under the recovery service vault, you will see that the Girish RSV, because that's one of the prerequisite for Azure Site Recovery, which Backup Exec 20.2 is using in the backend to replicate those virtual machines to the Azure region, that the one that we picked. But let me just go. I'm not going to configure. I just wanted to give you the steps involved. So if I go back to my backup exec console, you can see that it automatically took within the Azure portal to create a new infrastructure, or I can go to prepare new infrastructure and it will ask me to configure the source and the target. So basically from where I want to replicate. So if you have the infrastructure say on-prem, whether it's running on VMware or Hyper-V, you have to follow all these steps. So in case it is running on-prem and I want to replicate to Azure, it will ask me which hypervisor I'm using, whether it's Hyper-V or whether it's VMware. If I'm using Hyper-V, am I using the System Center VMM to manage my Hyper-V host? If it's yes, you will select specifically and click OK. And then it will ask you if I have done the deployment planning. You can specify if you have done that or not, and then it will ask you to configure the source, in which you have to configure the Hyper-V site, and the target, which is going to be the recovery service vault, and which the virtual network we want this virtual machine to be spun up. So as you can see, that is pretty straightforward. to configure that. I'm not going to do that. I just wanted to give you an idea about how it is done within the portal. But important thing to remember is that everything can be controlled right from the backup exec console. You can manage the replication, you can manage the failover, and all those things are pretty straightforward to configure. I hope you found this video useful. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.